Hello friends, welcome to my channel Clinical Biochemistry by Dr. P.K. Prabhakar. Today I am going to talk about one of the basic things that is a major difference between the plant cell and animal cell. So we know that our body is composed of a large number of cells. So plant and animal both are composed of millions of cells, and these cells have the several similarity and several dissimilarity are there. So both are having some similar means properties, characteristics, structures, and there are some differences are also there. So when we are going to consider them both, so both are eukaryotic cells, which means they are having a true nucleus. True nucleus means it is having a nuclear membrane that is enclosed and separated from other cell organelles by a nuclear membrane, and that is a crucial factor which defines their mode of multiplications. They have similar reproductive processes. Normally they are going to multiply through mitosis and meiosis using their DNA that is housed by the cell nucleus. Then we will talk about what are the plant cells and animal cells. They are also both having membrane bound several cell organelles that is common and performing the same but not through the similar mechanism. Normally they are going to perform the same function, but might be the mechanisms may be different to maintain the and control the cell's normal function. These organelles includes nucleus, Golgi body, endoplasmic reticulum, ribosome, mitochondria, cytoskeleton, peroxisome, and cell membranes. They also undergo cellular reproductions, respirations, which performs productions, processes of energy productions which is normally used for normal cellular functions and maintains the normal cellular structure, and their physiological requirements is going to be fulfilled by these things. Despite having all these similarity, they are having several differences also there. Okay. So structurally, if you see the structure of plant cell and animal cells, structurally plant and animal cells are very similar because they both are eukaryotic cells. They both contains number of different cell organelles, which is listed here. Both also contain similar membranes, cytosol and cytoskeleton element. Therefore, the function of these organelles are extremely similar between these two classes of cells. Like peroxisome performs additional complex function in plant cell having to do with cellular respirations. However, a few differences that exist between the plant cell are very significant and reflected differences in the function of each cells. Now in details, if we'll go see their structures. So this is roughly a structure of plant cell, and where we are having a nuclear. This is the nuclear membrane bond nucleus. This is nucleolus, and this is endoplasmic reticulum. This is Golgi body. So vacuoles. So almost different cell organelles are present, and they are enclosed inside the cell wall and plasma membrane. So if you will say this is the cell membrane, and then this thick is cell wall. Whereas if you see the animal cell does not have any cell membrane. They are having only plasma membrane is there. They are having nucleus inside nucleolus, and then different cell organelles are there. So we are going to see what are the basic differences between these two cells. So first, if you will say the plant cells normally can be larger than the animal cells. Okay. So the first we are going to see the definition. What is the basic differences in their definitions? Animal cells are also the basic functional and unit of the life for animal, constituting all the cell organelles that perform the variety of functions which support the animal's metabolism and their normal day-to-day life or their functions. Plant cells are basic functional unit of plant, which is constituting all the cell organelles performing a variety of functions that support the plant's metabolism and their normal physiological requirements. So animal cells are the basic unit of animal body. Plant cells are basic units of the plant. Then if you go for size and shape, animal cells are greater, generally smaller than the plant cell. Just now I have told you. If you go and see the size, which is ranging from 10 to 30 micrometer in the length, whereas plant cells are larger than the animal cells with the size go up to 10 to 100 micrometer in the length. Animal cells shape and size vary greatly from irregular shapes to the round shape, mostly defined by the functions they perform. Like if you go and see the neurons, they are a star shaped structure and they will have axons. If you go to a skeletal muscle, they are a spindle shaped structure. If you go to RBC, it will be round spherical structures. So different cells are having different structure in case of animal cells. Whereas in the case of plants, if you go, they are having a similar in shape, with most cells being rectangular or the cubical structures. So plant cell normally does not have too much morphological differences, whereas animal cell, if you see, they are going to have differences in their structure depending on their functions and their places. Okay, so that is one of the major difference between the animal cell and plant cells. Then we will see the cell wall. Animal cells normally lacks the cell wall but possess a plasma membrane which perform the function of support and protection of the cell from the external damages. Plant cell, they contains both cell wall as well as the cell membrane and cellulose. In case of animal cells, they play a major role in the selective permeability, allowing the outflow, means any plasma membrane, because animal cells have only plasma membrane, no cell wall is there. In certain cases, like if you go for fungus, there we can have the cell wall. Otherwise, normally animal cell does not have cell walls. So plasma membrane is called as a kind of barrier which normally differentiates the external environment from the internal environment of the cells, and they does not allow everything to go out, everything to come in. In case of plant cells, the cell wall, which is composed of cellulose, and that is a rigid membrane matrix found in the surface of the plant cell, whose primary role is to protect the cell and its constituent content. If you see the plasma membrane, they have a plasma membrane animal cells, and that is thin flexible membrane which normally works as a protective covering, and it is helping in the selective transportation, selective permeability of the membrane. Plant cells also having the plasma membrane, but it is inside the cell wall. So the presence of plasma membrane made up of cellulose just below the cell wall, which allows selective permeability of the cells. So the major function of plasma membrane in case of plant cell is not the protection, because it is slightly inside. The main protective function will be done by cell wall. In case of animal cells, protection as well as the selective permeability both will be done by plasma membrane only. Then if you go to see the cytoplasm, both animal cell and plant cells have the cytoplasm. In case of animal cells, almost all the cell organelles are present inside the cytoplasm, whereas most of the cell organelles of plant cells are possessed by in the cytoplasm. Then if you see the ribosomal differences in the ribosomes, they are present and are used for protein synthesis, genetic coding of the proteins, amino acid sequencing, whereas in case of plant cells, ribosomes are present and used for protein synthesis and normally cellular repair mechanism. If you go and see the differences in the lysosomes, animal cells have lysosome, and that contains the digestive enzymes, acid hydrolases and other enzymes, which normally breaks down the cellular macromolecules or any kind of pathogens which comes inside, it will be digested, degraded. In case of plant cells, are rarely contains lysosome, as the plant vacuoles will be there. So they don't have too much of lysosomes, but rather they will have large vacuoles, and the Golgi body handles the molecular degradation of waste cellular product. So the function which is performed by lysosome in the animal cell, same function will be performed in case of plant cell by plant vacuoles and the Golgi body. When we are talking about the vacuoles, animal cell may have many small vacuoles, a lot of smaller than the plant cells, whereas plant cells have a large central vacuoles that occupy more than 90% of the cellular volumes. So plants and because of this vacuoles only, plants nucleus is going line on side, not in the center, in the sideways. So if you see the nucleus in case of animal cells, it is present and it lies into the center of the cells, whereas in case of plant cells, their nucleus present but it lies on the side of the cells. Why it is lying in the side? Because most of the area of the plant cell is covered by vacuoles, and that vacuoles normally allowing nucleus to one side. If you see the differences in the centriole, in case of animal cells, they are present with the their major functions involving in the association of cellular cell division processes, and these centrioles are normally absent in the plant cells. Then another difference in the peroxisomes. So in the animal cells, they are present in the cytoplasm, and they perform the oxidation mechanism for a specific molecule synthesis, and they assist in the synthesis of some of the plasmalogens lipids. In case of plant cells, that is peroxisomes is also present, and in the cell cytoplasm functioning as cell oxidizer for cellular molecules, synthesis of some of the important lipids, recycling of carbon from the phosphoglycosyl during the photo respiration process. Another difference if we will say in the microvilli. Both plant cells means in the case of they are having a major difference in the microvilli presence. Animal cells have the microvilli, they are present in the intestinal lining of the increase to the surface area of the absorption for this food in the GIT tract, whereas in case of plant cells that is absent, it is not present in the plant cells. Then if you see the cilia and flagella differences, in animal cells they are present, they allow movement of cells or part of the cells, for example swimming of the sperm into the ovum or the female reproductive tract. In case of plant cells, these cilia and flagella are normally absent. Then we are having another major difference in the plastids. In the animal cells, plastid, chloroplast and chlorophylls are normally absent. In case of plant cells, they are present and they give pigmentation color to the plant and also facilitate trapping of light energy used for the photosynthesis, which by photosynthesis they normally produces carbohydrate or glucose. Then we are having another difference in the Plasmodesmata. Normally in case of animal cells, Plasmodesmata, which is the normally a junction connection between the two neighboring cells. So Plasmodesmata absent in the animal cells, it is present in the plant cells and they facilitate the communication and transportation of material across the plant cells and between the two different cells. Then we are having another difference between animal cell and plant cell for in the Golgi body. In animal cells they have a large fuel Golgi body with their major functions being to process and package protein and lipid macromolecules as they are being synthesized. In case of plant cells, they are smaller but more Golgi bodies with their major functions being modification, processing, sorting and packaging of proteins for cellular secretions, which is going outside the cells. So in animal cells, large Golgi body will be there, Golgi complexes will be there but less in number, whereas in case of plant, a smaller Golgi body will be there but more in number will be there. Another difference is the cytokinesis. If we will say cytokinesis process takes place in the animal cells through the constriction process, whereas in case of plant cell the cytokinesis process during the cell division takes place through the cell plate formation. By this cytokinesis the cytoplasm of the two will be divided into two different parts at the time of cell reproductive process, cells division. Last differences we are going to talk in terms of osmosis in a hypotonic solutions. When you are going to put animal cells into the hypotonic solution, so they take water molecules through osmosis and they are easily going to burst when placed in a hypotonic solution because too much water will be there and plasma membrane is not too rigid a structure. So because they don't have cell wall, they don't have too rigid a structure, so cell are going to burst as more water will go inside the cells. Whereas in case of plant cells, they absorb water molecules through osmosis only, but they are not going to burst. Why? Because plant have a rigid cell wall structure which does not allow cell to burst in a hypotonic solutions. So these are the major differences between the plant cell and animal cells. If you see, there are certain similarities are also there between plant cell and animal cells are there. They have similarity in the ribosomes. They are similarity in the endoplasmic reticulum. Both plant cell and animal cell contains endoplasmic reticulums of two types, rough endoplasmic reticulum and a smooth endoplasmic reticulum. When we are talking similarity in, they have similarity in the nucleus. Both cells having nucleus that is present inside the nucleus. When we are talking about the similarity, there another similarity is between their cytoskeletons. Cytoskeletons are present in both the cells, and the major function of these cytoskeletons are creating a network that organizes the cell components and maintains the cell structure. So it is a cellular structural organizations. Then granulations, both cells have granulations. So these are the different similarity and differences between the plant cells and animal cells, which is one of the common when we are going to start the biology study. That time one of the first thing which we are going to learn about that is the difference between the prokaryotic cell, animal cells, eukaryotic cells, plant cell and animal cells. So today we have discussed about the plant cell and animal cells. Next day we will talk about the difference between the eukaryotic cell and plant cell. So this is all about for today. Hope you have understand it. If you have any query, any comments, you can write in the comment box. If you are not subscribed my channel, you can subscribe it. If you like the video, you can press the like button, share it. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.